Hi, I'm Paul Clements. I'm interviewing Mark Lee. Mark Lee has been one of our major supporters of Earth Day in the past. And Mark, what do you do?
I'm proud to say I build a better world. How I do that is I work with a great team of people here at Better World Builders, and what we do, what we primarily focus on, Paul, is we get into looking at houses, looking at commercial buildings, and finding out how they're using and wasting electricity or energy. A lot of times, most houses in our area, Kalamazoo area specifically, a lot of the houses were built before 1995. Probably almost 90% of the houses were built before 1995. They didn't have a really strong energy code, and a lot of these houses, they waste between probably about 20 to 40% of their energy just by having people live in them. That comes along with the energy is wasted by sometimes just people leaving on lights or having old refrigerators, but also energy is wasted primarily by more than half of our costs in housing is spent on heating and cooling the house. So what we do at Better World Builders is we focus on finding ways to help reduce the energy load, reduce the amount of energy needed to keep you comfortable, safe, and warm inside your home.
So for most houses in Kalamazoo, like that you've worked on, what's the thing that you've done that's done the most to reduce their energy cost and therefore also to reduce the waste of carbon emissions and all that kind of stuff?
Oh, that's a great question. So I'd say the thing that we've probably done the most in the houses is reduced air leaks. So air leaks in a house, we call it, there's different terms of talking about it. Some people call it air leakage, some people call it drafts, some people call it just like a cold, uncomfortable room. And then in those cold, uncomfortable rooms, they'll put a electric space heater to help supplement heat in that room. We help eliminate that extra supplemental heat by focusing on taking the house itself and eliminating or reducing the number of air leaks in that house. So I liken this idea to if you're in your house and you have your window open, maybe even if it's just open halfway, maybe it's your bedroom window and you can't get it shut. So it's open all year long, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. That's really common for a lot of the houses that we work on. In fact, on average what we have found over the years, there's about a 3.5 square foot opening, a literal opening. If you took all the little cracks and crevices, the little connections to the outside, there's about 3.5 square feet. If you total them all up, that's almost like the diameter of. It's a pretty big diameter, but a lot of that is air loss, just like having that window open in your bedroom all year long. But it's all of that air loss that really drives a lot of the cost and discomfort in most houses.
So I just want to point out to our listeners that Mark, you did take care of my house. The energy cost went way down. It's much more comfortable. So hey, thank you for that.
All right. Great testimony. Thanks. I'm glad, Paul, it's great to have you here just even for that reason alone. You're a true person who has believed in that idea of like, well, there is something I could do in my own house.
So going more broadly, why do you care about sustainability and environmental health? What does that mean to you?
That's a great question too. Every day I'm just kind of driven by this idea that we actually can live in a better world. You drive down the street, and it's worse now than when I was growing up, but you drive down the street now and you see plastic bottles or bags flying all over the place, and you just walk down. If you take a walk in any city area or just even around your block, you're bound to find some just trash sitting around. They don't know where that comes from. I mean, most of the people, they do kind of take care of their own trash and stuff, but it certainly is not a warm, fuzzy feeling to know that we have all this trash floating around. Any trash the whole idea of this, and I believe this wholeheartedly, whenever you see a bag of a candy wrapper or a bottle or a grocery bag flying around, it's going to end up in our water. It's going to end up in the Kalamazoo River. Then it's going to float on down to Lake Michigan. It's going to sink down somewhere in Lake Michigan, and then you're going to go out to Lake Michigan for a nice day at the beach, and you're going to end up finding trash in the water. I know that that's not so much energy related, but it is that idea of you know, I do look forward to that point of like, you know, where respect for our environment or love, you know, I think of love is a really big component. You know, you don't trash things you love. So if you can actually take this idea of loving your world and loving the world that we live in, this is a great gift. You know, there's only this one blue and green marble floating around in space that we know that keeps life, and we have it. There's talk about going to Mars. Mars looks really desolate. It looks like a desert. So I don't know what the appeal is. We have something great here. If we took our resources and said, hey, let's work on what we have that's great. That's the idea of sustainability to me. And so when I bring this back to my business and the Better World Builders, you know, where we focus on homes and making them more comfortable and energy efficient, I believe there's just simply a connection there where when you have a house that keeps you warm and keeps you safe and keeps you comfortable and doesn't cost a lot to operate, you can then focus on the rest of the world too. So it's, you know, we kind of the change almost happens within us first, where we live, the buildings which we live and work in, and then once you get those kind of settled, then you can start to look beyond your own walls to find out what else can I do to help the environment. So I don't know, I think that's a long answer to what you're after, but that's a great answer. It's a belief, though. I think it's real true.
Well, Mark, you've always been someone I thought about as one of our sort of heroes for sustainability in Kalamazoo. So thanks so much for sharing your thoughts, and thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thanks.